An animated show on Netflix based off of a fantasy video game with an older audience? Alright, it worked for Castlevania, why not Dragon's Dogma? So while I did play the video game when it was out, I actually never beat it. Not because it was bad or anything, I just never really made the time, never really went back into it. But that doesn't matter. The show should stand on its own, and I'm here talking about it. And it's okay. Honestly, like, it's just kind of generic fantasy so far. You're introduced to the main character and his pseudo family, right? You have Ethan and his presumably wife Olivia and like their neighbor, this annoying kid named Lewis. And right off the bat, you know, they're dead. They're all dead. They're gonna die. They speak in that like hyper reality fantasy. And when I say fantasy, I mean non-existent, like happy dialogue, like, oh, you're so funny, let's have breakfast, all things are happy in the world, let's just enjoy each other's company, oh, and I'm pregnant. And I'm just sitting here watching all this unfold, watching Olivia and Lewis just having a laugh and knowing that Ethan is the main character, and I'm just watching it. And they're as dead as the Waynes. Honestly, they are. The character needs motivation, and there we go. That's pretty cheap motivation if you ask me. But whatever, he like lives at this like fishing village, and these three guys deliver exposition about him not liking the water for some reason. Thanks, guys. No one talks that way. That's what I'm trying to say. Like right up the whole episode, people talk in ways that no one really does. And like they make decisions that no one really makes, right? Because Lewis and Ethan go hunting, and I don't know why Ethan takes this little kid. Honestly, he's like my least favorite type of child archetype. Like the one that's just so arrogant and smug and thinks they're tough, but just gets everyone around them in trouble because of it. He's one of those kids. He's not in the episode long. Well, he is, but I bet he's not in the show long. And I don't know. They go hunting, and like they get attacked by wolves. And all the while, Ethan's like, I'll hold them off. You go run, Lewis. Go tell people. Go warn people. And Lewis goes to the guards, and they have a council meeting about it. They have a conference about being attacked by wolves. And I'm just sitting here watching this happen thinking, dude, the guy is fighting wolves. What are you doing? Like, they take forever to go try to help him. Not only do they have to stand around and talk about, like, should we help him? Well, we have to, so let's go. But they have to stand around and wait for them to put on their armor. And I've never been attacked by wolves, right? You guys can probably tell that. I'm pretty schlubby here in my like hidey hole, whatever. I haven't been attacked by wolves in my life, but I can imagine I can't fend them off, as most people can't fend them off, for 3 hours while the guards are putting on their armor and getting ready and talking about going. But whatever, Lewis saved today, but not really. I don't know. Those decisions are the things that kind of bothered me. And again, it's just like generic looking guardsmen, generic looking hassles, generic looking character designs, honestly, with like the too perfect wife and like the too perfect kid Lewis, but whatever. And even but going into the dragon, right? I have to admit, when the dragon finally does show up, it is pretty cool. It's a pretty sweet entrance. It's the pretty, again, generic looking dragon, but it's hard to make dragons look not cool. So it looked pretty cool. It was pretty sweet when it came in. Started mowing down the town. I was for it. And that leads me to my next point. What exactly were the soldiers planning on doing? They made a whole big deal earlier in the episode about how like, oh, no one's seen a dragon in 100 years, but that doesn't mean we get to defund the military for some reason. We're just gonna keep pouring guards into all over the country, into castles and outposts all over the country to protect people from dragons. But no one's seen dragons in 100 years, but we're gonna be ready. And when the dragon finally shows up, the soldiers are like, yeah, it's a giant flying fire-breathing lizard that's armored, like our arrows can't pierce it. Yeah, maybe we're not prepared for this. To me, it's just a giant, huge waste of money. What were they planning to do? I don't get it. Like, it seems like the only strategy for dealing with something like this is run. And yeah, they run. But not everyone gets to run because Olivia and Lewis are like, let's hide. And they hide. And you know what? It gets them killed. And I'll give the show this, right? I did legitimately cheer when Lewis was eaten because I didn't like Lewis. But when he was eaten, I was so happy about it. I saw it coming. The recipe, I saw the code in the Matrix. The recipe is in the pudding. Whatever that means. But I saw it happening and I was excited and I was happy when it did. I cheered. I did feel a bit worse about Olivia dying. I know she is the too perfect wife that like dies to give the main character motivation, but you know what? Like, she's still an innocent and my heart still goes out to her, but it doesn't matter anyways because Ethan deals with the dragon and the dragon's like, do you hate me? To which Ethan doesn't respond, but I guess the dragon figured he does. And he pulls out his heart and eats it, therefore turning him into what they later referred to as Arisen. Like I said, I played the games a little bit, but I never finished it. But from my understanding of where I think the plot is going to go, is that the only way to kill a dragon is if an Arisen kills them. So a dragon creates the person that's going to kill them, and then the Arisen becomes the next dragon. I'm not sure if that's actually what's going to happen. I might be pulling that out of thin air. But if that's the case, I'm excited to see Ethan's journey. And don't feel too bad about Olivia because at the end of the episode, he's got that heart scar on his chest and he's just looking at the destroyed city. And then another person walks up behind them and he's like, hey, who are you? To which she responds, she pulls down her hood, I'm your new waifu. And that's not exactly what she said, but that's what she meant. And that's what's going to happen. And I'm here for it, guys. The show's generic. The writing's very bland so far, and the dialogue's nothing special and kind of awkward at times. I don't know if that's a translation error, but you know what? I'm a sap for these kind of shows. I love Castlevania, so we'll see if this gets better as it goes. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I have to say about this episode. I will watch the next one. There's only 7 episodes, each one named after the 7 deadly sins. I don't know if that's relevant in any way, but it's cool, so let's put it in. And that's kind of how I feel about the writing behind this show. It's cool, people like it, so let's put it in. Even if it is generic, let's not do any special spins on it. I know our show is called Dragon's Dogma, but let's not redesign dragons in any way. It doesn't matter. I'm ranting now, guys. Thanks for joining me if you did. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want. Join me for the next episode. And remember, if a dragon attacks your village, probably don't stick around to get eaten. Even if you do need to go find the perfect wife for some reason. Have a great day, guys. Be safe.